Hi crafty friends, Julie here. Today I'm going to be taking a mini envelope and turning it into a pocket keeper for my journal that I've been working in. So I just wanted to get started and let you know how I'm going to do this. I have this old envelope. This is pretty old. This is like back from, you know, when you'd go into the scrapbook store and not Hobby Lobby, but a long time ago. And you know, scrapbooking was just kind of getting started. And I've had it all this time, and it's a mini one. Let's see if I can figure out what size it is. It's running about 8 by 5.5 when it's open. So all I've done at this point is I've traced it onto a piece of white cardstock. Right there, there it is. And then I cut it out and created my fold. And so now I have a duplicate one. So that's what we're gonna get started with. I'm gonna save this one for either using or for keeping as a template because it's a good one. But now I'm gonna take this one and turn it into a little fold up pocket thing. I don't know, I haven't come up with a good name for it yet. A file folder mini pocket book. So I'm gonna get out my score pal, and the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna figure out where my pockets are gonna be at. So here is this tab. So if it's 5.5 and I want it to be about 1/4 or 1/3 of the way up, so I'm looking about 2 3/4. I have no idea the math. Math is starting to hurt my head. So if it's 5.5, it'd be 1, about 1.5 inches up, I think ought to be good. So I think I'm gonna do it from this side. So I'm looking at 1.5 inches, that's right here. Okay, so the first thing you do is you make your pocket. Okay, so that's what it's gonna, where the pockets are gonna be. And then I'm going to split these in half. So if I want about equidistant, that's 1, 2, 3. So it would be 1.5 inches here as well. Okay, and it should be about the same on this side. 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, not even, because this side was a little bit bigger. 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, almost 4 inches, where this was what, 3 inches? Well, so if we're right at 2 inches, which would be right here because I have it starting at the 1 inch here. I'm gonna push it just a little bit. Well, that went crooked. Let's try again. There we go. Okay, so there's our folds. I'm gonna fold this one in, like that, and then back like that, and then in like that. Okay, and here is your little foldable. That was horrible. I should have folded this one more. Let's see if we can't fix that real quick. So if I'm going to 9 to 5 is 2 inches. So if I went 1, 2 inches, that's 2 inches. It's because this sticks out so much. So I might end up trimming that off and making a new tab for this one. I'm gonna give it another line real quick. Okay, that's a little bit better looking. Make sure we fold on our same line, our right line. Okay, so that's literally what we're doing here. And we do have this extra fold here, but I'm not worried about it because we are going to be covering everything up. Now, one thing you can do before you get started is you can grab some acrylic paint, like a neutral color, sepia, or even if you want to do pink or brown or whatever, and you can paint all your edges and all your folds. So you'd paint down here and all the way around, just the edges, about, you know, 1/8 of an inch in on everything. Because now we're going to start covering this with paper. If you don't want to paint, because it does require the paper to dry, you can just cover it with ink the edges when you're done, like distress ink. And that's what I'm going to do with this. Okay, so we're done with that for now. And now I'm going to start covering this with paper. And I've just grabbed some coordinating papers here. This is not all I'm going to use, but that's what I'm starting with. Some plaids. I have a polka dot in here somewhere, I think. Yeah, the green one is polka dot. Stripes, a little bit of floral. So it's kind of a pleasing palette, I think. And this is going to be my cover. And I think I'm going to start with kind of like that. The ticking. The dots, that's bright. Little Maggie Holmes, I don't like that one so much. I almost like this one the best for the cover. Okay, so let's get started with that one. So we're going to go ahead and measure it and cut it. And you can see you don't have to be super perfect, just get close, because then you can trim it up and then the inking will hide any white spots or gaps that you've got. So it's a little over 4 inches, and I'm going to go all the way to the tab but not cover the tab by a little over 2 inches. So a little over 4 by a little over 2. Precision doesn't have to be precise. Just make sure when you're cutting it, you know which way you're going. So this way is where we're going to measure a little over 2. There's my 2, and I'm going to go a little over 2. A little over 4. There's 4. I'm going to go a little over 4. There we go. And let's see what that looks like. Okay, pretty good fit, I think. Okay, we're gonna get that glued on. I like these glue sticks, the Elmer's Craft Bond glue sticks, and I also like the Scotch Craft glue stick. They're just a good strong bond for paper. Of course, I don't use them to hold really anything else. But I add it to my washi tape when I'm using that. And napkins. Okay, and there's our first one. And you can see I've got a little excess, but that's from it being an imperfect fold, and you just trim it up. You just cut it to shape. This is one of those projects, it's very forgiving with the measurements. Okay, there we go on that one. Now we're just going to start covering the insides, and I just like to use a variety of paper. It's going to fold up like this, so I'm counting each one, so 1, 2, 3, 4 panels. So we're going to do this 4 times, and as you can tell, none of them are the same size, so everyone's going to require a little measurement. This one I am going to cover all the way to the tab, so it looks like right at, it's a little less than 2 1/8, and I'm not going to cover the inside here because it's just going to add too much bulk when I'm folding it up. So 2 1/8 by right at 4. So on the back here we're going to do this yellow. So 2 1/8 by 4. 2 1/8. And so when I'm cutting like this with my cutter, you can literally cut straight to the 4. So literally I've just cut 2 1/8 by 4. And then when you go in to cut your 4, your measurement's already made for you pretty much. You just cut to that. Looks like I went a little over. You just cut to the end of that cut. And you've got a perfect cut, and you haven't done too much over cutting on your paper. So we're going to glue that one there, and then we'll trim it up. And remember, we're going to ink all our edges, so we're not going to worry about any white edges right now. We're going to worry about any missing spots. We're just going to worry about getting our paper on here and getting it done. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this video up, and you can watch me just get all these panels covered. One more thing, don't glue the paper into the fold. Where is it? Can you see this? Here we go. See where the fold is? And I've got the paper just up to the fold, but not over the fold, the crease, so that when I fold it up, there's no extra bulk. Okay? So you find where your folds are and you're going to ink that up too. And what that does is it gives it the illusion of like it's really been sitting there a long time. You can even hit it with the edge of the ink pad. See, that makes a difference. Let me show you again. Here I'm just going to use the blending tool and just ink up the edge. Okay, it looks really good. It looks nice, it looks old, it looks aged. Okay, but when you take it and run it through the ink pad, just 1 or 2 swipes, it just gives it that extra level of vintage goodness. And so we're going to do that with this one too. And even though it goes the other way, my paper's not wanting to cooperate, we're going to give it a good inking, good inking with the distress tool on all the edges. And then we're going to fold it up and we're going to run it through. And there's your folds, right? Looks awesome. Okay, we want to make sure we get ink all the way around all the edges, inside and out, before we start gluing any of the flaps down or adding anything else, because the more layers you get, the harder it is to get ink in all the white places. Okay, we're going to do that technique with the inside folds as well. We're going to distress with the blending to all the edges and give it that nice vintagey brown, vintage photo color that we love so much. Just like that. And then we're going to take our folds and we're going to use the distress tool on them as well. And you can see I'm not super, I don't know, what is the word, like have to start off the edge, like just like, you know how Tim Holtz says you start off the edge to get a nice rub in or whatever. I'm still using the square one because that's the first one I ever bought. It's just the one I keep. You can see the green is picking up either some glue or some other items that are stuck to it. Like that makes me so happy. It's just like a little extra layer. But what I'm going to do then is just run the edge through the ink. And it's going to be a little bit tricky because of all the layers of paper. So you're just going to make sure you try to push it down there as much as you can. It's just going to give it that extra layer of aging. But if you see a spot that needs more, you go in and you give it more. So that's what you do. You can really tell the difference from this side to this side where I haven't inked this edge yet. I just want it to really get old and age-worn and distressed because it's been around a long time. And I'm not being precious with it either because it's been around a long time. So it's going to have a lot of wear. It's going to have a lot of people having touched it and folded it and, you know, handled it, dealt with it kind of thing. So we're just going to make it really look like that. Like it's been around and loved and used and pretty vintage. So we're just going to, whenever I have a corner or something and I can't get my blending tool into it or whatever, I just stick the corner into the corner of the ink pad. And you can see I've got a lot of edges coming up, so I'll go around with glue later and glue all that down, or we'll see. Okay, now I'm gonna do these guys because I didn't do these guys yet. You see what I mean? This right here, I just did that. So it just kind of really is a game changer when you rub it in the ink like that. Now you could have done all separate panels here for this, but I just chose to use the one, obviously. And so it needs a little bit more coaxing and finessing to get it the way we want it. I'm also going to rub the whole edge on it and into it. Make sure it gets nice and done. I'm really struggling with that little white piece there, so beware of that if you're folding. Don't use too thick of paper because it doesn't like to fold. You just got to keep working with it, and eventually it'll wear down and be the way you want it to be. Now is the fun part. Now you just decorate it however you want. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and decorate it, and I'll come back and show you guys when I'm done, but I want to show you one more thing really quick. I'm gonna do a few things I bought and a technique. I'm gonna be, let's see. Here's my paper I used to cut out my file folder. And I've got my cutting boards. And I'm gonna cut out a tag. But I have to know first which tag is gonna fit in here, which tag shape. So I'm not gonna glue these middle pieces down. See, this is a good size to fit in there, but I was wondering if any of the other ones would fit in there. But you don't have to use a die. You can cut it out like this with a die. And then I can show you my other trick for how to cut tags without using a die, thinking it's something I need. Okay, so that's one way that I cut out tags. I like the stitching edge, obviously. It's super cute. My other trick for cutting out tags, which we've all seen before, which I know I'm sure you've seen it, is make a very simple tag. You just start with a straight edge, obviously, and then you're just gonna cut yourself a rectangle, about like that, and that should fit in somewhere. Not there. You can make them smaller. And then you just literally take your two pieces, your two corners, and you just cut them. And there's a little tag. And when I have something like this, what I usually do is, I don't even punch a hole, like I just staple, use my tiny attachment and just staple ribbons or trims or whatever to the tag. Another great thing about Distress ink, it just wipes right off. Okay. I pulled one stamp, this one, this little bird stamp. I already got some ink on it. That's all right. I'm gonna put it right here. I got more ink on it. Good, awesome. I'm gonna put this little bird on it. It's a little like a regular shape, so you know, straightness doesn't matter too much. Look at him. He's a cutie. I have this one here. Let's use this bird in flight. Ooh, and that's right, this one has the nest on it too. Oh, such a good stamp set. Have I never used this bird before? Wow, okay. Oh, he's cute. And then I'm gonna add, I think, this figure mark to it. Gonna stamp it off once. Oh, good, it's upside down. And then I'm gonna go off the tag with it. There we go. Okay. And we could just keep going all day and playing all day because that's the fun part. But what we're gonna do now is, I was gonna add some color to these tags. And I just bought some new colored pencils. But I'm not sure if there's actually somewhere to color in these. I just bought these colored pencil set at Tuesday Morning, the Jane Davenport colored pencils. And they say they're Magic wand pencils. Woohoo. High intensity pigmentation. But what I'm thinking is this probably needs a little more watercolor than that. So I'm going to pull out some watercolors here. I've got a little bit of plastic here. And I have all kinds of color. I've got Dina Wakley's crayons. I've got gelatos. I've got watercolors by these Peebo by Illustrated Faith. Plus I've got the Vicky Bouton ones. The watercolors in the tube. I've got, yeah, a lot of choices. But anyway, I love this set. This is actually the brush that comes with it. It unscrews and fits in the tube. So, all right. So, just picked up some color on my plastic. Did you like how I did that? And then I'm going to literally put the leaves in the greens and blues. And then the bird, you know what, he might need a little yellow to him. So we'll start with a little bit of pink there, but I think I'm gonna pick up some yellow in a minute. And this one, I love this green and blue combo. Do it near the top like that. Got a little red on him. Do a little corner of red there too. That's kind of cute. All right, now we're gonna add some yellow. So we're gonna hit there's our yellow ochre and whatever color that is over there, yellowy looking. We'll hit the yellow and the orange. We got a little green, extra green, because that keeps it interesting. Ooh. Ooh. All right, I think I need a little edging on this one too. So let's just see what happens when we drag it through the watercolors. Nice, I'm loving that. What do you think? Looks good, doesn't it? Okay, one more thing I think I'm gonna do with these. I'm gonna hit them with a texture stamp. I have one of my favorites here is and it is Well Loved. It's just squares in their imperfect, like an imperfect grid. So I think I don't want to use black on this again. I'd like to use some sort of gray. Didn't even use the brush. Okay, so now I've got these two tags here, and they're just fairly damp, you know, where the watercolor was. And the last thing I'm gonna do with them is give them some texture now. So I've got this music notes, which I think I'm gonna run through here. And I've got a brand new one. Let's see, where are you at? The new one, embossing folder, the textured impressions, multi-level from Tim Holtz. Ooh, I think I'm gonna run this guy through here. I'm gonna find a good spot for him. I think right up in this corner. So I don't know how to put this through the Cuttlebug. We'll have to figure that out. But I know this one will go through without the magnetic plate, I think. happened. Oh yeah, it's nice. Can you see? So I'm gonna hit that with a little bit of color again. We'll have a beautiful little tag. Now I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this one. I think I was rolling it the wrong way, of course. Oh, ooh, pretty. Okay, so now that has texture. So it literally is just an A and B plate. All right, now we're going to hit these guys with a little vintage photo or pumice stone or old paper or whatever you have. And it's just going to add, oops, another layer. And you can do the back side too. When I flipped it over, I realized there's opposite texture there, so you can just hit it like that. Oh, look at that, that's so pretty. All right, there's the one, and then here's the music note one. I like things to be bright and then aged. This just makes me so happy. All right, so there's our two tags that will go in here. And I happen to have these old quilt balls that my mom had bought because she loved, and then the other day she was getting rid of them. So I'm gonna use those as my, what do you call it here? Tag topper thing. Scissors. Just like that, and you take your tiny attacher and you attach it. I of course like to make the X. So there's your one, and he'll slide in there. Very cute. And for this other one, we'll use the pink stuff, which has all the batting literally falling apart. That's how old this quilt is. We'll pull it through, and if you have something long enough, you can tie it. Otherwise, we're gonna do the smaller side to the front so you can see the layer. Otherwise, you're gonna staple it. And I like to staple right above the tag. So it's not attached to the paper, it's just holding the thing together. And then those can go in like that. We have a little scrap of blue here. We don't waste, so we're probably gonna stick him somewhere. We're gonna stick him off the edge. And when I staple a tab on, I like to do as straight a line as I can get. So, just like that. How cute he is. I think this hedgehog needs to be here somewhere. So we're going to cut him out loosely, like that. Keep the name hedgehog on there because that's kind of cool. And then I'm going to rip some of that off. And I want all the edges ruffled up, or, you know, worked up. So let's see if we can do it with our scissors. And just kind of give it a worn look. A little more texture. Okay, and then what we do with him, of course, let's do some pumice stone. Okay, so it just makes him look like he's older. Look how cute he is. If you want, you can hit the edges with some vintage photo. Just kind of run it through just on the edges. You kind of have to put your finger where you want it so the pressure applies there. And if you don't like it, you can just kind of rub it out, buff it out. You can get it wet, but this paper may not hold the wetness too much. And then it's ready. So we'll probably just stick him right there, but I think he needs a backer. So let me go ahead and finish decorating it, and then I'll be back and show you the whole thing. Hi there. I have finished my mini file folder tag pocket, and I wanted to show it to you. And I'm doing it outside. It's raining out here, and it's just kind of really nice out here, so I thought I would come out here and do it real quick. But I'll be doing it one-handed, so just bear with me. Anyway, I've just got my pocket file folder tag pocket here, and I've just like a little picture on the back. I've tied it up with a piece of the quilt ball that my mom was getting rid of, and it's pretty chunky, as you can see, so I'm not sure if it'll actually work in my journal because it'll take up a lot of real estate, but it looks really good. I love it with all the fibers and things hanging out. So let's go ahead and get started, and you can see what I've done here. First of all, I decorated the cover with just a piece of muslin and a sticker and a punched out circle, and then some Tim Holtz chipboards, a little bit of washi tape, and another half circle, and some more washi tape over here on the tab. And then you just open it up, and I've got in this first section, I'll open it all the way up so you can see. Decorated all the little panels here with just some words or label type things, just things that look like they needed to go here. I've added a word and some more muslin right here to this inside of this tab, and I've got a tag in each pocket, at least one tag. And I've also made some like word cards. So I'm just calling these word cards, or just cards, layered up cards with words on them, and with a tag in that pocket. And then that's that part of that quilt strip too. And you can see, like, it's kind of subtle, but I just added some washi tape to the bottom, and that's just a stamped image. And then I stapled on the quilt. And also this paper came ripped, so I just kept the top edge ripped and just used it as it was. And also I have glued the sides here, so stuff's not going to be falling out, so you can't pull it down anymore because it's glued together. And the second one, I've got this little girl I stamped on here and just layered it up with a circle and some aqua grid paper. And then there's one of the watercolor bird tags I made previously. And this next section is another word card, beautiful, on some ledger paper and some textured cardstock. The other watercolor bird tag I made, and then just a sentiment tag, a grateful heart looks up. And then in the last section, I've put a quote here that I had laying on my desk, and here the hedgehog did make it in, so he's on a cute little tag here. I just layered it up and used some washi tape, and then I made another animal tag, this little bunny. I'm pretty sure it's from one of the Illustrated Faith collections, and I just added him to a tag and some washi tape, some fussy cutting, and a button. And that's that. And that is pretty much how I decorated this. And now it's ready to be used in a project or sent out for some happy mail. And then, like on the back, I said I didn't decorate the whole back. I just stuck this one picture of Dick and Jane I had on here. Otherwise, I'm leaving it as it is because I like it like that. All right, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Have a good one.